Well, good morning from Carmacks. It's a cold, clear day, mostly blue sky, high scattered clouds. I'm leaving Carmacks today and headed up to Ross River and then down to Johnson's Crossing. So the highlight of this day's travel will be riding the Canol Road, which is probably going to be the most desolate, least traveled road I've been on this trip. So looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it a while since a friend of mine told me about it. So we're going to gear up here in a minute and head out. It's I'm guessing it's in the low 40s, but again, clear and cool. Had a good sleep last night, did a bunch of video work, had a good meal over at I think it's called the Gold Panner restaurant, and we're ready to go. So let's have a good day. Bye.
Well, good morning. I'm about 10 or 12 miles out of Carmacks on what I think is called the Robert Johnson Highway. So I can't remember anyway. But it's 34 degrees right now. So 2 key words: heated gear. That helps a lot. I'm headed for Ross River. So here's a few minutes. It's actually a much better road than I anticipated. I thought it'd be kind of a dirt gravel road, but it's a pretty well maintained asphalt, so happy about that. It's about 2 to 2.5 hours to Ross River. I left this morning before 7, which kind of explains why it's rather cold still. I wanted to get a good jump on the day because the second half of the day will be much slower and maybe a little bit longer than the morning ride. That's on the Canol Road. More on that later. Gotta take a picture here. This is amazing. Beautiful. Look at that. Robert Campbell Highway. That's what I think this is. Don't see any sign of man other than the road. As far as you can see. It's quiet. Just ticking of the engine.
here I am at the Pelly Ferry crossing, which is the only way you can get to the North Canol Road. So I'm in Ross River, Yukon Territories. This is a pretty famous ferry boat here. So if you want to go on the North Canol Road, you take that ferry over to there. The problem is that road is not maintained and is very difficult to travel. They've had expeditions that were well outfitted and well funded that couldn't get very far because the bridges wash out and there's just no way to cross. So that's what we have. And that's a pedestrian suspension bridge there. Nice road coming out here. Great in some spots, other spots kind of spooky, but otherwise, it's a little bit overcast, but it's not raining. And it's not too warm either. But here we are. Need to go back into Ross River, get some fuel, and head down the South Canol Road. So this is the entrance to the pedestrian suspension bridge crossing the Pelly River here at Ross River. And actually crossed. This is how people get across the Pelly River. Guess that's the guy's job there. He sits in that truck all day until somebody wants to cross. It looks to me like it's a cable barge. You see a cable coming off the front of the boat, off the barge, and one off the back. And you get the idea.
Okay, this is the start of the South Canol Road. I'm going to take this down the Johnson's Crossing today. It's a pretty remote road from what I can gather, and has an interesting story behind it. There's two parts to it. There's a South Canol Road and a north. The video you saw earlier where the pedestrian suspension bridge and the pedally barge ferry, that's what you take to get to the North Canol. This is the South Canol Road. This one is still maintained, believe it or not. It's about 100 miles, thereabouts. A pretty remote area. It was built in the early 40s to support a pipeline that the Canadian government put in to bring oil from the very northern part of Canada to a refinery in Whitehorse. So just like the Hall Road in Alaska was built to support the Alaska pipeline, the Canol Road was built to support that pipeline from way up in northern Canada. And it gets its name from Canadian oil. That's where the Canol Road comes from. It's supposed to be a pretty slow-going road. We'll see. After about a year of use, the pipeline was abandoned. I guess it was only a 4-inch line. And depending upon what source you read, it was either abandoned because it was plagued with problems and leaks and poor delivery, or the threat of Japanese invasion in World War II had subsided. In any event, it was shut down after a year, but the road remains. It's supposed to be a pretty remote road with very little traffic on it, but very pretty, as you can see already. So sit back, let's roll for a few miles here. Colors. Wow. Yep, it's going on. I also noticed earlier I have a Allen head bolt that had worked its way loose. This morning I tried to tighten it by hand and it felt stripped. After about 3/4 of a mile on the Canol Road, the bolt's gone. It vibrated out and gone. Yukon Highway guy I talked to at the ferry told me that the last time it rained down here was 4 days ago. So we shouldn't have any trouble with a slippery road on this road anyway. Very colorful though. Must be a good time to ride this for all the colors for late fall here. Road continues to be a real mess, but the views continue to be spectacular. I'm surprised the bike can take such a beating. The potholes are just enormous and everywhere. You just can't miss them. Although I can tell that if this were wet, it'd be really slippery. And there's been a few times I felt slipping a little bit. Nothing serious, but man, if it were wet, I just can't even imagine what it would be like. I've seen one vehicle going the other way against me. Just one. No, I take it back. Two. There were two campers. And there's been nobody going my direction. So I passed no one and no one's passed me. Anyway, it's about 2:45. I figure I've got about another probably hour and a half to make it to Johnson's Crossing for the night. But look at that view. Wow. Unbelievable. Wow, that was a big slip. Just trying to avoid potholes, you sometimes cause more trouble for yourself. Well, that's a steep little uphill. So I'm about halfway down the Canol Road, South Canol Road, and the scenery, as you can see, is just absolutely spectacular. The road is absolutely brutal. I have never been on a road so rough in my life. I mean, potholes everywhere, very difficult rocks, and I've been up the Hall Road. This is much more worse than that. But man, the scenery is something else. Absolutely gorgeous. Unbelievable. Unbelievable how pretty it is. How unspoiled it is. I came from that direction. I'll be heading this way.